Hi all. Um, so for my final presentation, I've decided to do voiceover over what I've done as part of my final submission. Uh, so just to remind everyone, my craft was the origami, and my pre-civil architect was Arius Matthews, and the whole idea behind my concept was to create a building that would add to the existing surroundings and site, and try to have as less impact on the site as possible. And by doing that, um, my concept was basically consisted of a ground level gallery space, which was the only sort of building that was observed from the laneway, and then the rest of the building was underground. Um, so basically, just to run through what I've done, I've looked at the architects, prison architects' work, um, what their design philosophy was, as this was uh, quite important to help me shape my design concept for my craft school. And so basically, I'm just showing what Arius Matthews regarded in his architecture, or regarded important in his architecture. And after I've established that, I then went on and conducted a site analysis to gain a solid understanding of the site, and then began to sketch some ideas, as well as establishing the relationships between various spaces and set out in the design brief. And obviously then, having put that all together over the past 12 weeks, um, based on obviously comments and critics that I sort of received over the 12 weeks. And yes, so I refined my design as I went on, um, and just tweaked it here and there. I thought some areas weren't quite solid from the start, especially the relationships between spaces and where they sat in relations to the facade that received the most natural sun and that was sort of exposed to most views. And after establishing that, I thought that my design became more solid and more refined. And I've also looked at the materials of my building, or what my building would consist of in terms of the materials involved. So obviously the main core of the building consisted of concrete, and I've looked at how concrete can also be used for the rooftop garden, as it has solid structural qualities, and also glass, how glass obviously brings transparency to the building to bring on views. And one of the other interesting materials that I looked at was the polycarbonate material that shaped, or that made up the gallery space that's sat on top of the main building. I wanted to bring a sense of transparency to that, so I thought that was a good material to use for the facade and skin of the gallery space. And lastly, the use of um, sort of geometric shapes to I guess construct the shading device out of, to shade the large glass surface areas that sat sort of facing west and out to the views. And then I've also looked at just the more refined details or closer details of the building, and how this thing will be put together, and just stuff like that. And lastly, just had a more in-depth look at the gallery space, and how the polycarbonate material with the glass material would work, and just sort of worked on my presentation from there. And obviously throughout the 12 weeks I received continuous feedback from everyone, and I suppose that helped me shape the design and refine it. And yeah, so during these 12 weeks I had a lot to learn, and that really sort of improved my skills. And yeah, thank you for listening.